Waiters waitresses of Reddit, what is the most awkward first date you had to witness firsthand? I worked at a higher end restaurant as a busser for a while and eventually was given a chance to serve in the bar area while a jazz band played. Most of the tables were just drinks and appetizers. My first shift, a woman in her 40s or 50s came in with a tall, dark, and handsome guy no older than 30. Nothing wrong with that in my eyes. But all of my interaction with them was the woman talking down to me on some sort of power trip, maybe to prove to her guy that she is an alpha female or something. Dunno, and her ordering everything for her date. They had cocktails, ordered a bottle of wine, and had a couple enter-s. She ordered ahi tuna, rare. She was very insistent on the rare, so much so that I'd put blue rare into the computer so everything would be fine. She sent back 4 separate plates, all too well done, to the absolute horror of her date. I informed her after the second that they would not be taken off her bill, and she scoffed and made some comment about how she is loaded and it does not matter. After the 4 plates, she sent the last one back and asked for a shrimp cocktail instead. I left them to enjoy the music, brought the check, and when I came back to pick it up, her date was gone. And I do not mean went to the bathroom or went for a smoke. All of his things were gone, and he was nowhere to be seen for 30 minutes. She apologized to me and asked if I could take the ahi tuna 45 each off of her bill. Told her to pound dirt. Not really, but my manager did. Next day she wrote a 500-word review about me, using my first name, on the restaurant's Facebook page. My boss printed it out, framed it, and I still have it today. I would love it if my manager did that shit for me. I'm a chef and we get some ridiculous stuff posted on our Facebook. A favorite of mine is always complaints about well done steaks. Steak arguments always seem weird to me. I like my steaks medium, medium rare, medium, or medium well, does not matter. As long as it's a shade of pink in the middle and tastes like steak, I'm good. Fair is fair. You'd be the best customer for training new people in the bot. I like my steaks rare. The step between med rare and med well is huge for most people, and the name of the game is to give people what they want. If you order a steak well done and complain that it's dry, suck eggs. That's the thing that grinds me the most about cooking steaks. I will upcook whatever. Some steaks are weird when it comes to the touch method. I'm not giving you sympathy for well done. That cow didn't die to be tasteless. Not a first date, but we did have a guy come into our steakhouse on a Saturday night at 7 PM with no reservation. He then told us on the spot he was going to propose to his girlfriend. We had to seat them somewhere awful. It was right next to the bathroom, and when he got down on one knee, looking around nervously, absolutely no one noticed. Him and his GF kept waiting for the rest of the restaurant to see them and go quiet or even clap for them, but not a single person noticed. She said yes, looked disappointed, and they went back to dinner like nothing happened. They must not have minded too much because they came back for their 1-year anniversary. This time he made a reservation, lol. I had a guy ask me to take a video of him proposing to his girl. Everything went fine until it was time to review the video. Turns out, I never actually recorded. Laughing my freaking butt off, I died a little on the inside but asked if he wanted me to record the entire thing again, since it was definitely staged, real proposal but staged. He politely said no. I apologized once more and left awkwardly. Oh no, somehow this made me cringe more than any other post here. Just saw one on Valentine's Day. The date seemed to be going very well. Actually, not awkward at all. They talked non-stop, no lulls in conversation. They were laughing, carrying on, and just generally having a good time. In fact, another server and I were laughing about how obnoxiously loud they were. Then I heard the gentleman say, "And obviously you're not still married, right? Please tell me you're not still married." She said, "Well, actually," and then things got very uncomfortable. It must not have been a deal breaker because they stayed at the restaurant another hour until we closed. But they were very quiet for the rest of the night. Hardly spoke to each other at all. This isn't just awkward. It's sad as hell. A teenage couple sharing an ice cream and holding hands very awkwardly. After they finished the ice cream, they kept talking about their very adventurous sexual fantasies. They were around 14 years old. Super awkward to have to interrupt them to ask if they want anything else. My sexual fantasy when I was 14 holding hands. 25 here. It still is. Oh, I had much higher ambitions when I was 14. Now I'm 27 and it's reduced to holding hands. At this rate, it lines just be a thumb up in chat 13 years later. I had these two people that were there on a first date. After the appetizers, this poor man got the shits and was going back and forth to the bathroom all night. There was only a few other people in the restaurant at the time, so it was noticeable, and they were chuckling every time he got up. I honestly felt so bad for the guy. What the hell did you feed him? Sugar-free Haribo gummy bears. A review about the gummy bears. Well, the good news is that I can fit into my jeans from high school. I legit saw the guy try to roofie the girl, like not even trying to be hidden about it. He did it right in front of me. The girl went to the bathroom and I was cleaning the table next to them. I saw him take the powder out and slip it inside the drink. Another thing too, it was a pizza place. Who tries to roofie someone in a pizza place? Edit, yes, I called the cops. Jesus, I like chaos, but I'm not an animal. Apparently a high school classmate of mine did this, or rather, tried to a karaoke. Bartender also noticed, warned the girl, and the girl acted normal to still him. Today I learned the cops got there. I wonder if he is in jail yet. I worked with a guy years back who pulled that shit with a karaoke. After we got off a closing shift, one of us would go and grab a case of beer and a group of us would hang out and have a beer or two while BSing about our day. We had some older creep who went off one day to buy the beer and hands one of the girls an open beer. As soon as she walked up, the beer had already been open and he kept it aside from the case. I usually gave her a ride home, and the creep had told me earlier in the day that she had asked him to give her a ride home. When she told me she didn't feel good and asked if I could drive her home, he immediately started saying he was leaving and would do it. Nope. I took her straight to the hospital, and as soon as she blacked out I called one of the guys I knew was still there and told them not to let Mr. Creep leave. As I was calling the cops, it was honestly one of the few times I was really happy my father was a sheriff's deputy. Called, told him what was up, and the guy got arrested and charged. Later my dad told me they circled the block and ignored my coworkers beating the guy. She ended up okay. Turned out the creep had told her that I had said I hated driving her home. I do not tolerate people abusing people. I dealt with that shit all my childhood. That or never left a drink unattended and came back to it to drink it. If I had to go pee or someone wanted me to dance and that thing got left behind, it never touched again. Don't you know how much money is wasted on that? Worked at a pub connected to a brewery in college. Dude comes in with a stunning woman. I mean, she is absolutely gorgeous. Whole time they were sitting at the end of the bar, and you can hear the guy talking about how he has a room for them next door at the hotel in downtown. So they decide to go to the brewery next door. Gonna put a little dine and dash. They got over there, and didn't he realize we are on the same system? So he orders a couple of beers, and the bartender on the brewery side asks if he wants to add it to his tab. He looks over confused and says, "What tab? I've never been here." She prints off the restaurant bill plus his brewery tab. It's like 80 or so. He just blankly stares at the poor bartender, flies off the handle. The girl he was with ended up paying for it. They walked across the street and to the hotel. He has already invited her up. She stalls until her Uber gets there and then just dipped out. Kinda funny, kinda awkward, but that is what you get for dine and dash. Edit 1, since this is asked about multiple times. When the bar was in dining hours, crowds were usually very manageable. We didn't take CCS. We would just give the bill at the end of the meal. Similar to a traditional restaurant. They waited for the later crowd to show up around 9 and dipped while we were getting busier. That's the whole reason they weren't caught trying to leave the bar in the first place. Edit 2, thanks for the upvotes and award. Much appreciated. Edit 3, the girl wasn't a willing participant from what I could tell. She had no idea he had dine and dashed. I think she had gone to the restroom or something at some point, so he could have said, "Oh, I got it," or something along those lines. In what world does a dine and dash ever sound like a good idea? But especially when on a date. Especially when you are going to dash next door. regardless of if the establishments are connected in any financial way. I have definitely texted other bartenders in the area to let them know if something sketchy is going on. Finding a dine and dasher in a bar next door would be really easy. It's just so ducking scummy. If you cannot afford to go out to eat drink, then do not go out to eat and drink. Didn't he happen to me, but I was working while the bartender got to experience it. Guy and girl came in. Super weird chemistry all night. The guy is obviously trying to impress her by being a huge douche, and she looks like she is just pretending to not hate it, so the date will end faster. At the end of the night, she says she lines take an Uber home, and he awkwardly leaves without her. She then waits for the bartender to come back over, orders another cocktail, and asks for his phone number. How hot was the bartender lol? Asking the real questions. A couple was shown to their table, and the guy was on the phone the entire time. I normally wait until guests are off their phones to give my spiel, the specials and such, and take a drink order, but he didn't show any sign of getting off the phone. I take the order, which the guy just holds his hand over the phone, talks over his date. When I come back, she attempts to order a nap, a house specialty, and he tries to say the portions are large enough without. She orders a zucchini anyway. I get the dinner order and bring out the app. At this point, I hadn't been to the table when he hadn't been on the phone. While I was putting together the salad, the woman comes out to the lobby and asks to get her meal packed up. She ended up paying her half of the bill and ducking out. She told me this was their first date, and she was set up by a soon-to-be former friend. Said she was going to be calling her friend as she walked out. When I brought the guy's meal to him, he asked where her dinner was, and I told him what happened. He really thought she was in the bathroom. So, you mean on the phone, as in he wasn't even scrolling? He was talking to someone else on his phone the entire time. Good lord. Looking at your phone constantly is bad enough, but this is a whole other level. No, he was actively having conversations on his phone, while his date just sat there looking around. It really was the worst I've ever seen. Had a few dates like that. Totally didn't end well. Thank you for watching. We hope you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe for more videos.